Now friends, we will see the applications of our PN junction diode, of which the working VI characteristic, diode current, the details already we studied, is it? Now the objectives of this lecture is semiconductor diode applications, like you are already known these things, that is half wave rectifier, full wave rectifier, if that diodes are connected in series or in parallel or anti-parallel diodes, etc. Okay, now what is mean by that? Positive half wave rectifier, negative half wave rectifier, then clippers, clampers, voltage multipliers, and dual rectifiers. So in this lecture I will not going on to explain in detail the working of each and every circuit, because so many circuits are there. You just go through this, and during our live session, if you have any problems, then we will going on to discuss, right? So I will just give some hint for the various circuit firstly. So see here, the diode is connected in series with the voltage source, just like a step down transformer, right? And whenever the positive half cycle, or when this terminal of secondary of the transformer will be positive, the diode will go on to conduct after its forward breakover voltage, and current will be going to flow like this, and that's why there will be a drop across the resistor connected in parallel to this circuit, that is nothing but VO. So this R, I mention it as a 10K, and V in, you have to just imagine how much is the peak voltage and then how much will be its RMS voltage. Just imagine if we observe it on CRO and if we measure it on DMM, what values you will get, and this is the applied voltage to that diode, that is nothing but secondary voltage of that transformer, this one. Now during positive half, diode will conduct, there will be somewhat output voltage, non-zero. Now during negative half of input, that means the polarity will get reversed, this terminal will become negative, this one will become now positive, diode will become reverse bias, and as we know, when diode is in reverse bias condition, it will going to act as an open circuit, means it will act as open over here. That's why there will be no flow of current through this path, and that's why the output voltage will be zero in this case, is it? So just imagine what nature of output you will obtain. It will be half wave rectified output like this. During positive half, you will get somewhat same as that of input. Then during negative half of input, you will have a zero output. Again next positive half cycle, again output will be non-zero. Again during second negative half, again output will remain zero like this, is it? So if that RMS voltage is, we can say 12 volt over here, the value of RMS voltage is 12. You can find out the value of peak voltage by using the formula. Already I told, Vrms equals to Vm by root 2. That means 12 into root 2, that is nothing but Vp, is it? If we observe the same signal, whatever we discuss now, what nature of output will be there observed on CRO, is it? So the peak value of observed output during each positive half cycles only, because during negative half the output will be zero. So during each positive half cycles, the peak value of obtained output you can observe on CRO, that will be Vp minus 0.7, is it? Because the 0.7 will be the voltage drop across the diode, it is nothing but barrier potential of that diode, clear? So just imagine, and later on, if a DMM is connected across the same terminals, CRO is connected as well as DMM is connected over there, the DMM, its rotary switch, it should be placed on DC voltage measurement. So it will go on to measure the average value of that pulsating DC which is occurred during each positive half cycles like this. So its average value is nothing but what? How much it is? So whenever you studied half wave rectifier, you might have derived the average output voltage, load voltage, as Vm by pi, is it? VLDC equals to Vm by pi. So once you will calculate the value of this Vp and will divide by pi, that will be the value of voltage measured by this DMM. It will be same, is it? So just go through in detail. Now in this circuit, what I done, I just reverse the diode, just change the polarity of that diode, or just reverse it, is it? Now what will happen during positive half of input that is coming from secondary of this transformer, diode will remain reverse bias, and that's why output will be 0. No current will be going to flow over here during positive half of input. While during negative half of input, this terminal will become positive, diode will become over here forward bias, and that's why the flow of current in this case it will be like this. So the drop occurred across this resistor, it will have the polarity like this due to the direction of flow of current through it. And if the positive terminal of CRO as well as DMM is connected over here, that means that terminals are connected to negative drop, and hence the obtained output it will be somewhat like this. During negative half only you will have the output, is it? While during positive half output will remain 0. It will be like this, is it? Again, same as that of previous, just consider the RMS value as a 12 volt. That means the transformer is of 12 volt transformer. Its secondary voltage is 12 volt. Calculate the value of VP. Then just imagine if it is observed on CRO, how much will be the peak value of this signal? It will be equals to VP minus 0.7, right? Or by using simulation software also you can do it, is it? And you have to check it. Similarly, DMM, how much value that DMM will read? It will be again average of this pulsating DC. This is nothing but your VLDC, is it? Which is equals to Vm by pi. That you already derived right now. Whenever you studied that half-wave rectifier, is it? That VLDC equals to Vm by pi. That Vm is nothing but Vp, is it? Now in this case, two diodes are connected. What will be the output? Is it? Just imagine it, just think over it properly and try to find out all these values, or try to implement the same circuit using simulation software and try to obtain that output on CRO, as well as try to measure it by using voltmeter. Now in this case, say diode is connected in parallel now. In previous cases it was in series. Now here during positive half of input, diode will conduct, and that's why how much will be the output voltage? That output voltage, it is nothing but the voltage measured across diode now, remember. Is it? It will be going to act as a short circuit during positive half of input after its 0.7 volt, right now practically. So whenever it will be going to turn on, the voltage across that diode will be equals to 0.7. That is nothing but U equals to 0.7. When input voltage is between 0 to 0.7, suppose that 0.7 is over here, that input voltage is between 0 to 0.7, diode will be going to act as open circuit, and then how much will be the output voltage? Don't say 0. That output voltage will be equals to input, because it is acting as open, and voltage across that open path is nothing but the applied voltage, is it? So output will follow the input from 0 to 0.7, and later on that output will remain 0.7, is it? Until that diode again gets turned off. Whenever that input signal again will go to 0.7 or below 0.7, immediately that diode will get turned off, and output again will start to follow the input, is it? So I will show that the nature of output over here. If this is 0.7 volt amplitude, and if it is over here, the nature of output will be like this. Output will follow the input, later on it will remain constant as a 0.7, and again output will follow the input like this, is it? So just think over it, again try to observe on CRO, and by again try to measure its value using DMM. Now during negative half, diode will act as a reverse bias. That means when this terminal will become negative and this one will become positive of that secondary, diode will become reverse bias, will act as a open, and that's why output will follow the input. Now what is the input? Input is nothing but negative half, like this. So such type of output you will observe on CRO, right? So implement it using simulation software again, and try to observe it on CRO, as well as measure its value using DMM. Same thing, I just reverse the diode. Think on it, what nature of output you will obtain when the diode will get turned on, when it will remain off, and all that. Next example, two diodes again connected parallel with each other as shown. what will be the nature of output? Considering that previous fourth and fifth example, try to observe the output voltage, think on it, what nature of output you will obtain. Now it is just like fully rectifier. During positive half, diode D1, this upper one, suppose, now remember, for transformer, whenever one terminal is positive with respect to its opposite terminal, if it is center tap transformer, if we consider only half part of that secondary of that center tap transformer, whenever we are considering this terminal as positive, this one is at negative potential. Okay, whenever this terminal is negative, its respective center tap, it will be positive, right? Now see, suppose at pi by 2, that AC signal, it reaches to its peak value over here, right? So just imagine at pi by 2, if it is at, we can say 15 volts, okay, if that peak voltage is 15 at pi by 2, how much will be potential at this opposite terminal? It will be minus 15, is it? Now if it is at plus 15, its center tap will be at minus 15. Whenever this lower half secondary will be at minus 15, its respective center tap will be at plus 15. So how much will be the net potential at center tap terminal? Remember, it is always remains 0 volts, and that's why that generally center tap transformer, it is rated as, for example, like 12, 0, 12. That 0 indicates what? At any time that center tap terminal, it remains at 0 potential. You can find out for any time period the level of voltage at its center tap terminal. So it is always at 0 volts. Okay, now the first diode, it is connected across the first half of that secondary, so it will go on to power the load. During positive half, diode will conduct, current will go on to flow through load, and to the ground means to the center tap. Center tap is grounded. See here, these two terminals are at same potential, right? So during first positive half, diode D1 will conduct and current will go on to flow through R like this. At the same time, diode D2, as it is in reverse bias condition, so no current will go on to flow through it. But during negative half, now this terminal will become negative, this one will become positive, second diode will become forward bias, and current again will go on to flow like this, is it? So you will observe the direction of flow of current through R in both half cycle, it is same, that is from top to bottom, and that means whenever drop will going on to occur across this R, it will have see the nature of obtained output during positive half will be like this, as well as during negative half it will be like this, is it? Because the direction of current flowing through R, it is in the same direction even if input is positive or negative, right? And we are calling it as a fully rectifier because during both half cycle we are getting the output. In previous case only during one half cycle we have the output, and remaining opposite half cycle the output remains 0, right? So again, using simulation software, consider this transformer of 12 volt. Consider here this Vrms as a 12, how much will be the peak voltage, what nature of output, and how much will be the amplitude. This amplitude will be again Vp minus 0.7, that 0.7 is nothing but drop across diode during each half, right? And by using DMM, try to measure its average value. DMM always measures the average value of applied voltage. Now as it is a pulsating DC, its average value measured by DMM, it will be equals to twice Vm by pi, that you already derived whenever you studied the rectifiers, is it? The value is twice Vm by pi. In previous case it was only Vm by pi, right? So just check it by using again simulation software. Now the next PN junction diode application, only that diodes are reverse. What nature of output you will have, it will be in opposite direction, so we can call it as a negative Fourier rectifier, and that previous one was positive Fourier rectifier, is it? Now In this case, what will be the output voltage? If input voltage is applied again by using a step down transformer of 12 volt RMS, just try to find out VO, how much it will be. In this case, again, just by applying the basics of the diode, its working and characteristic, what nature of output you will have, just think on it. Again, this is full rectifier. Just consider one terminal during positive half. First terminal is positive of this half secondary, which diodes will conduct, and whenever polarity gets reversed, that means during negative half, which diodes will conduct, and what will be the direction of flow of current, and what nature of output you will have, then how much will be the average output voltage, then how much will be the peak voltage. Just imagine it, just think on it, and observe by using simulation software. Now, one more thing I want to explain over here now for this application. See, in series of that diode, a dedicated DC source is connected, which is of 1.5 volt. That means our dry cell. For example, if the peak voltage of this secondary is of 15 volt, this one, the applied input voltage having its peak value as a 15 volt. We consider the same example, previous consideration. If it is of 15 volt, then during positive half, diode will going on to conduct, is it? So during positive half it will conduct, but how much amplitude that positive half to take to get that diode in conduction? Right now, if this DC source is not there, then surely we can say whenever that input goes to 0.7, that means over here diode will start to conduct, is it? It will going on to overcome the barrier, but the extra barrier is connected in series with it. So the total barrier of this series combination, it is of 0.7 plus 1.5, so it is of 2.2. That means the diode, that input have to reach to 2.2, only then diode will start to conduct, and the output will be, it will get maintained like this. That means the nature of obtained output will be like this. Now it will get clip off at 2.2. That means 0.7 plus that external bias, that is 1.5, right? Without this DC source, the saturation level, it will be at 0.7 only. That means this much only, is it? But if a series bias is again connected externally, then that also we have to overcome, then and then diode will conduct. And if the applied input signal is less than this total barrier, then this path will act as open. That means output will again going on to follow the input. And that's why I shown this line over here up to the saturation, that output follows the input, and later on it remains saturated, or it remains almost equals to the total biasing, that is 2.2, is it? During negative half, no doubt diode will remain reverse bias, will become more and more reverse, it will go on to act as open, so again output will follow the input. That means negative half cycle will remain as it is, like this. Again same thing, only I change the polarity, so just think over it and try to find out the output. Now the parallel connection, again apply the same logic whatever I told in previous example, example number 12 and 13, and try to imagine what nature of output you will have, right? Now in this case, what nature of output? Now the applied input is square wave. It is known as a clamper circuit. During positive half, diode will going on to conduct, capacitor will get charged up like this. Here it is considered the value of this R is somewhat large. That's why I mentioned it as a 10K. Okay, so this capacitor will going on to charge like this. In that case, the obtained output voltage, it will be almost equals to 0.7, or we can say it is almost equals to 0, because there is nothing but drop across this diode, right? No current will going on to flow through this highly resistive path, because current always takes minimum resistive path, and that's why as diode is in forward bias, we will going on to offer a very low dynamic resistance as compared to very high parallel resistor of 10K, and that's why the output voltage, it will be almost equals to 0. Practically it will be 0.7. This capacitor, it will get charged up to Vm, because the applied input have the peak value square wave as Vm, is it? Now during negative half, this diode will become reverse bias, will get open. Now what nature of output? Now the nature of output, it will be the stored energy plus the input. Means you will have almost the output twice of input, Vm plus negative Vm, is it? So the nature of output will be like this. So see, the negative amplitude over here, it will be of twice of Vm, and that's why this is known as a negative clamper. The output gets clamped. Okay, again you can check by using the simulation software such circuits, working of this circuit. Now just again I change the direction of diode. Now in this case you will observe the obtained output will get positively clamped, right? And that's why it is known as a positive clamper. This is nothing but voltage multiplier. See, during positive half of input, diode D1 will conduct. This capacitor will be going to charge with the polarity plus and minus with equals to Vm, like this. During negative half of input, diode D1 will get turn off because it will act as a reverse bias. See, during first positive half, diode D2 will be reversed, so no current will be going to flow over here. Current will get flow through diode D1 only because it is forward bias. Now during negative half, this terminal becomes positive and hence diode D2 gets turn on. Whenever diode D2 will get turn on, the capacitor C2, it will get charged with this polarity because that current now will be going to flow through diode D2 like this. Now how much will be the net output voltage? That net output voltage is nothing but the energy stored by capacitor Vm plus this one. So it will be of twice of Vm. So this is known as a voltage doubler. Output gets double as compared to input. Okay. The same voltage multiplier, that previous one was half wave voltage doubler. Now this is full wave voltage doubler. Half wave voltage doubler means what? During negative half of input only we are getting the output twice. During positive half, the output it remains almost zero. That's why that was a half wave doubler. And now this one, it is known as a full wave doubler because during first positive half, the D1 will conduct and capacitor C1, it will get charged up with the polarity like this and with the amplitude of Vm, that is input, right? During negative half, now diode D2 will conduct because this terminal will become positive. Diode D2 will conduct like this, and another second capacitor, again it will get charged with the polarity like this due to the direction of flow of current through it and with the amplitude of Vm. We are measuring the voltage across these two terminals, and how much it will be? It will be Vm plus Vm, that is twice of Vm. So during each half we are getting the output, and that's why it is known as a full wave doubler. Now in this circuit, see, during first positive half, diode D1 will conduct. Current takes always minimum and shortest path. That's why diode D1 will conduct. Capacitor C1 will get charged with the polarity like this and with the amplitude of Vm, right? During this first positive half cycle, diode D3 will not going on to conduct because what I said, that current always takes shortest and minimum resistive path. That's why only diode D1 will conduct, right? Now during negative half, this terminal will become positive, and that's why current will going on to flow through diode D2 like this, right? Now the potential across this capacitor C2 is equals to the energy stored by Vm plus input, that is Vm plus Vm, so it will be equals to twice of Vm. Okay. Now the current again will not going on to flow through D4 because again minimum resistive path like this. Now during the second positive half cycle, remember this circuit is somewhat interesting. During first positive half, diode D1 will conduct. During first negative half, diode D2 will conduct. Now during second positive half, diode D1 will not going on to conduct. Why? Because the energy stored by this capacitor C2 have the polarity as shown, plus over here, minus over here. That means the cathode of this diode D1, it is at plus twice of Vm, while its anode it is maximum plus Vm coming from input, right? Now that's why it will remain reverse bias. Now the current will get diverted through that diode D3 like this. Now see why diode D3 will conduct over here, because its cathode terminal is at minus twice of Vm. That means diode D3 is highly forward bias as compared to diode D1, is it? And that's why D3 will conduct, and capacitor C3 it will be going to charge up through that diode D3 again with the maximum available voltage in that path, and maximum available voltage is twice of Vm. So the voltage stored by capacitor C3 again it will be of twice of Vm, not thrice of Vm, remember. Now during second negative half cycle, again diode D2 will not be going to conduct because its cathode terminal is at plus twice Vm potential, so it will remain reverse bias, and therefore the current now will be going to divert through diode D4 like this, right? And capacitor C4 again will get charged up with the maximum available potential in that path, and maximum available is twice Vm only, right? Now because this capacitor is also at plus twice Vm, this one is also at plus twice Vm, so the energy stored by this C4 it will be again twice of Vm, right? Now see, you will observe only one capacitor, that is C1, is at Vm potential, and remaining all capacitors are at twice of Vm potential. Whenever you will go on to increase such type of pairs of capacitor and diode, you will observe that remaining capacitors also will go on to charge to twice of Vm, is it? Now see, if we measure the voltage across these two terminals by using DMM, is it? Across these two terminals, how much it will be? It will be equals to Vm plus twice of Vm, so it will be of 3 Vm, is it? And similarly, if we measure the voltage across these two terminals, then how much it will be? It will be equals to twice Vm plus twice Vm, so it will be of 4 times of Vm. So whenever you will be going to increase these pairs, you will have multiple voltage, right? Now that's why it is known as a multiplier. So this upper side here we can see it is a voltage tripler, and this one is nothing but voltage quadrupler, is it? Whenever you will be going to increase, at the bottom side you will have 6 of Vm, over here you will have 5 times of Vm, etc., is it? So this is known as a again voltage multiplier, so you can boost the voltage levels. Now what is the disadvantage of this circuit? Its percentage load regulation is very poor. Whenever you will be going to connect any load resistance, the capacitor gets discharged, and that's why the total available voltage it gets degraded. So this is the disadvantage of this circuit, and the application of such voltage multiplier is only in cathode ray tubes, right? CRTs. Now the next one. This is nothing but again half wave rectifier with filter. So instead of a pulsating DC, the capacitor will get charged up, and if no load is there, then the charge on that capacitor, that means if IL is equals to 0, first one, that means this load is disconnected. Then during first positive half, diode will conduct, capacitor will get charged, and the charge on that capacitor it will get retained. That's why you will have a straight line across that capacitor. Now if load is connected, and for IL I shown it over here, so IL equals to 0, you will have the output like this, and whenever you will have somewhat non-zero IL, very small IL, for example like 5 milliampere, by connecting this load, then this capacitor will get charged like this and somewhat discharged like this. So you will have the output like a somewhat ripple. Whenever you will want to increase this IL, suppose it is at 10 milli now, that previous if it is 5, and now if it is 10, that means more and more current is flowing through the load resistor. That means there will be more and more discharge of capacitor. That means the ripple will get increased, peak to peak, that ripple it will get increased, and hence the average value, see here, if we measure the average value of this pulsating DC, average value of this one, and average value of this one, so you will observe the maximum average value you will have when IL is equals to 0, right? Whenever you will want to increase the value of load current, the average value also gets decreased, and that's why we are calling such type of DC power supplies as unregulated power supply. Same thing for Fourier rectifier. Again, IL equals to 0, then IL small and IL somewhat high. Just imagine what nature of output you will have. But as compared to previous, as it was a half wave rectifier, the ripple content of this Fourier rectifier will be somewhat less, but it is there, and still, and that's why we have to call it as an unregulated. Again, same Fourier rectifier using bridge without center tap. Again, the same thing you can observe. This is nothing but dual power supply. This is not a bridge rectifier, remember. This bridge rectifier, this bridge, it is powered by center tap. So partially it will be going to work as a positive DC power supply, and partially it is working as a negative power supply. And that's why you will have output across these two terminals, like positive over here and negative over here. So this is known as a dual power supply. Just again, by using the basics of diode working, just try to find out how it will going to work. So in summary, again, we seen the various applications of diode, like rectifiers, then clippers, clampers, voltage multipliers, dual rectifiers, etc. So I think you might have understood during our regular lectures. Again, if you have any doubts, I will be going to clear it.